Om Vakratunda Mahakaya
Vakratundamahakaya
Surya Koti
Suryakoti
Samaprabha
Samaprabha
Nirvignam Kuru
Kuru
Me
Me
Deva
Deva Sarvakaryeshu
Sarvakaryeshu
Sarvada
Sarvada Saraswati
Saraswati
Namastubhyam
Namastubhyam
Varade
Varade
Kamarupini
Kamarupini Vidyarambham
Vidyarambham
Karishyami
Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu
Siddhir
Me
Bhavatu Me
Sada
Sada
Gurur
Guru
Brahma
Brahma
Gurur
Guru
Vishnu
Vishnu
Gurur Devo
Gurudeva Maheshwaraha
Maheshwaraha Guru
Guru Sakshat
Sakshat
Param
Param
Brahma
Brahma Tasmai
Tasmai
Shri
Shri
Gurave
Gurave
Namaha
Namaha
Om
Om
Sahana
Sahana
Bhavatu
Vavatu
Sahano
Sahana Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu Sahaviryam
Sahaviryam
Karavavakai
Karavavahe
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
ma vidvishavahai.
Mahavidvishavahe
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha
Ath Tritiyodhyayah
Atha Tritiyodhyayah
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Shloka number 20. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim
Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim
astita janakadayah
Astitha janakadayah
lokasangrahamevapi
Lokasangrahamevapi
sampashyan kartumarhasi.
Sambharshan kartumarhasi.
An important shloka in the sense that this shloka, like the other shlokas in the Gita, which seem to convey, not really, which tend to seem to convey, or which are wrongly interpreted shlokas, like other few shlokas are there. Why I am saying like this? Because karmanai bagi samsiddhim astitaha janakadaya. This is enough for interpreting the teaching of the Gita. Karmana eva samsiddhi is moksha. Samsiddhim. Moksham, mokshagatim praptavantaha janakadaya. By karma alone, Janaka was a great jnani, the father of Sita. By karma, Janaka and others, they attained moksha. If they attained the moksha by karma, then karma becomes a means. That is what it conveys. Karma becomes the means for moksha. So moksha is created, it is produced because karma. Karma is done. Action is done. So an action which is done, action because it is done, it is limited. So karma which is done, which is limited, that produces unlimited result, which is moksha. This meaning is possible. Therefore, only I said this is shloka is one of the shlokas in the Gita which are wrongly interpreted by some interpreters. Karmanaivi sansiddhi means we have to supply. Karmana chitta shuddhi jnana yogyata praptihi. By karma, they gain jnana yogyata praptihi, otherwise called sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha bhavati. They become adhikari. Then they go to the guru and do guru seva and ask for the teaching. And the teacher operates in pramanam, shastra pramanam. The words of the shastram produces knowledge, and the knowledge gives moksha. Knowledge is moksha. Because samsara is because of ajnanam. Ajnanam is a cause for samsara. Therefore, for ajnana nivritti, what is the means? Ajnana nivritti, samsara nivritti. Jnanam is a means. Only by jnanam, ajnanam can go. Only by light, darkness can go. Darkness can be driven away only by light. If a room is, say for example, is dark for thousands of years, how much ever action you do, different actions you are doing, you are cleaning the room, you are washing the room, you are dusting the room, you are painting the room, whatever you do, the room will not, the room will not become light. It will be continued to be dark, and the things, the objects in the room will not be clear because of darkness. It will not be clear. You won't be able to identify any object in the dark room by any of your action, cleaning, washing, whatever you're painting. Only when you bring in light, even though the room was dark for thousands of years, a single striking of a matchstick which produces the light, that light illumines the room which was dark for thousands of years. The light illumines, the light reveals the presence of objects in the room. In the presence of that light alone, you can identify the objects. You can identify the objects and things in the room, nor by any other action. By any other action, the room will continue to be dark and objects will continue to be away from your knowledge. You cannot identify the objects. If you want to pick up a book, you won't be able to pick up. But to pick up a book, you need light. Light only illumines the room, illumines the objects of the room, illumines the book. Then only you can pick up the book. So when light comes, what happened to darkness? Darkness doesn't wait because the room has been dark for thousands of years. The light, when the light comes, then darkness will not go little by little. That moment, the matchstick is stricken. That moment, it will go away. So, how much time it takes for the darkness to go? Can karma produce? Can karma enlighten the room? Can karma light up the room? Never. It can never do. Similarly, if ajnanam is the cause for samsara, if you do karma, like pranayama, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, kriya yoga, sudarshana yoga, kundalini yoga, any yoga you do, any type of action, tirtha yatra, pranayama, asana, but that will not give moksha because it is because of the limitation of doing, because it is not doing. Moksha is not produced. It is not an event which is brought about by the karma. It is not an event brought about by karma. So, if that is so, then karmaneva sansiddhim asidaha janakadayaha, this shloka, how to interpret? That is why we have to supply. Karmana chitta shuddhihi. Chitta shuddhihi. Chitta shuddhi is antakarna shuddhihi. Chitta shuddhihi. Jnana yogyata praptihi. By that, the person becomes an adhikari for jnanam, and jnanam by guru upasadanam shastra pramanam, and knowledge takes place, therefore moksha. So we have to supply. We cannot take literally. Otherwise, it will be contradicting to what Bhagavan had taught. Then why should Bhagavan teach Sankhya Yoga, the second chapter? And even in the previous shlokas also we saw Jnanam removes ajnanam, therefore you do karma. What is the connection? That is how this chapter started. Jayasi chet karmanasya vata buddhir janardana. Tatkim karmani ghore mam niyo jayasi keshava. Why do you push me into this action, which is ghora karma, yuddha, ghora yuddha? If knowledge is greater than karma, then why? Why do you make me engage? Why do you make me engage in this karma, yuddha karma? Arjuna asked, because karma is required for preparation. Therefore, Janakadayaha, they attained moksha. It means not by karma directly. Karma is a means, indirect means for moksha, not direct means. That is how the shloka to be understood. If you take literally, it is completely misinterpreting the teaching of the Gita. Also, the previous paragraph, the first, what Swamiji has said, first the mind is to be prepared to karma yoga, and then the knowledge takes place. There is an order here. And it is this order that Krishna was describing in this shloka. Which shloka? The very immediate previous shloka. Tasmadasaktam karma karyam karma samachara asakto yacharan karma paramapnoti purusha. Here also same. By doing karma, not attached, you gain the ultimate. How you gain the ultimate? That becomes a means for gaining the ultimate indirectly. Same thing here. Karmanaiva samsiddhim asitaha janakadayaha. Very important. If this is background is not understood, the krama is not understood, that is the order, the background, that is the teaching. This is very clear in not only in Gita, and in Mundaka and other Upanishads. With that background, if we study this shloka, then shloka is meaningful. Otherwise, it will be subject to wrong interpretation. And that too, those who don't know Sanskritam, if they read a translation, they will be completely misled. And those who know Sanskritam also, if they read this, understand as it is, then also it will be misleading. Now, mere knowledge of Sanskritam alone is not understood. In addition to the knowledge, what is the tatparya of the Shastram? What is the cause for samsara, and what is the means? What role karma has to play? What role karma as a yoga has to play? All this should be very clear. Therefore, karma naivahi sansiddhyam, by karma alone, it means you cannot skip karma. By karma alone, sansiddhim, mokshagatim, astitaha, praptavantaha, u janakanada janakadayaha. Therefore, lokasangraham evapi sampashyan kartum hargasi. Therefore, hey Arjuna, if you think yourself to be a jnani, for the lokasangraha, for the welfare of the people, for the welfare of this world means the people. So you ought to do karma, keeping in mind the welfare of the people. Sampashyan, samyak pashyan, seeing the desirability, considering the welfare of the people. You should do karma which ought to be done. Why? Because seeing you are a role model. You are not an ordinary person. You are a noble man. You are a dharmika, an important person, not only among the Pandavas, among all. Who you are a master in archery. Who you have conquered. You have conquered many people, many great warriors in many wars. So you are not an ordinary person. You are known for your prowess, bravery. Therefore, people will emulate, people will follow you. Therefore, you ought to do karma because you have many followers to set an example. Therefore, for the sake of them, loka sangraham. That is loka sangraha. Loka sangrahartham karma kuru. That is the meaning. Indeed, by action alone, there are no other possibility. Only by action, only by karma, chitta shuddhi can be achieved. There are no other means to achieve chitta shuddhi, only by karma. Therefore, indeed, by action alone, Janaka and others gained liberation. Also, by merely seeing the desirability of protecting the people, considering the welfare of the people, protecting the people. How do you protect the people? You don't protecting not literally, protecting the people by making them do what they are supposed to do. That is a protection. You set an example for the people to follow, to emulate you. That is what protection is. Because you have many followers, therefore you should set a model, a good model, a dharmika model for the people to follow. By following you, they are protected. So therefore, seeing the desirability of protecting the people from falling into unbecoming ways, you ought to perform action. If you don't do karma, people will follow you and they will also like you because you don't do karma. You don't do karma, therefore you will not get shreyas. Therefore, people also will follow you and they also following you, they fall. People following you should fall or should rise. They should rise up in life, both in material life as well as in spiritual life. So you are responsible for your followers. You have to lift them up. How? By making them do what they're supposed to do. How? By you doing what you're supposed to do. That is a protection. Krishna did not say that karma is to be done by everyone. Karma yoga is meant for a person who is a mumukshu. So mumukshu means he is a karma yogi. Karma is there. Who is desirous of the knowledge? That is moksha. That is liberation. So karma yogi is a mumukshu and he is desirous of the knowledge. He only later becomes jignasu, wanting to gain knowledge for moksha. So mumukshu, the karma yogi, by performing karma yoga against antakarna shuddhi, then he becomes a jignasu, wanting to know why, because through knowledge alone, moksha is possible. That is a direct means. Therefore, mumukshu becomes a jignasu. That's a transition. But karma is the first. Antakarna shuddhi is a prerequisite for jnana. Therefore, karma is first. For a jnani who has a knowledge, there is no karma to be done. Kartavyam nasti, because there is no doer. For a jnani, there is no karma. Why? Because he's a jnani. Jnanam implies akartrutvam. So, how can a jnani do karma? To do karma, one must have kartrutvam. Jnani being akarta, how can he do karma? Therefore, kartavyam nasti, kartrutvam nasti, kartavyam nasti. The absence of doership. The absence of doership is purely in terms of knowledge alone. Not by doing, he will not become free from doership. The absence of doership is only through jnana. Agam akarta iti jnanena eva akarta bhavati. There is no other means of becoming an akarta. That also said in the beginning, na karmana anarambhat naishkarimyam purushoshtute na cha karma sanyasanadeva siddhim samadhigacchati iti. In the beginning itself, Bhagavan had clarified. All these lines should make us recall the verses, what we saw before. The jnani knows that he or she is not the doer or enjoyer of any action. Knowing this, a wise person is not bound by any karma, nor is he or she enjoined to do any karma, even by the Veda. Veda also releases a person. from doing karma. Veda enjoins karma only for those who have the abhimana of agam karta, agam karta, agam bhokta, not for the jnanis. The entire Veda itself loses its utility for the jnani. Just because pramanam has served the purpose. And what is the use of the Veda? Veda itself releases a person from all karma, is free. So, therefore, there is no injunction of Veda with regard to jnanis. Only a mumuksha has to do karma, as does aviveki, karmi, aviveki. Difference between a mumukshu and the difference between karmi and karma yogi is mumukshu, karmi is aviveki. Karma yogi is viveki, karmi is aviveki. Aviveki does karma, that aviveki tells you he doesn't have viveka. He does karma merely for the sake of the result, even at the expense of anything in life, anything or any person. He follows artha and kama even at the expense of dharma. That is karmi. As karma yogi is a viveki, therefore he does karma to gain artha and kama. They become the secondary goal, not the primary. Primary goal is moksha. So in keeping with dharma. That's the difference between a karmi and a karma yogi. And mumukshu is a viveki, karma yogi. He does karma as does a viveki, as does the aviveki, who is only interested in fulfilling his raga dvesha. That's the difference. Aviveki does karma to fulfill raga dvesha, whereas the viveki mumukshu karma yogi does karma to neutralize raga dvesha. That's the difference between the two, viveki and aviveki, karmi and karma yogi. It goes without saying that an aviveki, a person whose likes and dislikes have to be fulfilled, has no choice. Karma definitely has to be done by such a person. There is no other means. And while performing action, he or she has to follow dharma and adharma, right and wrong. Otherwise, the results of the person's action will be something undesirable, if not immediately, certainly later. A person who has a value for dharma need not be a mumukshu, a viveki, but may legitimately fulfill his or her desires, keeping what is right and wrong in view. A mumukshu also does karma, but not always to fulfill his or her likes and dislikes. More often than not, such a person does karma simply in order to do what is to be done in a given situation. That is karma yogi, mumukshu. If the person does action in order to fulfill his or her likes and dislikes, ragadvesha, the action is performed, and the results of the action, whatever they may be, are taken as prasada, gifts from the Lord. Here, in this shloka, Krishna provided further arguments for the performance of karma. People who have really given up everything to pursue this knowledge enjoy a certain disposition that, according to the Shastra, is not gained accidentally. They have earned it by performing karma with proper attitude. Since long time, maybe from Purva they have been mumukshu, and therefore, this disposition, what people have, it is not gained immediately, it's not gained accidentally. They have done homework. Like the knowledge of Sanskritam. If you don't do homework, no knowledge. Sanskritam cannot be gained. Similarly, here also, they have done enough homework. Therefore, they have gained that certain disposition, mental disposition. They have earned it by performing karma with proper attitude. Thus, karma precedes antakarana shuddhi, purification of mind, which in turn produces jnanam, knowledge. This is the karma order. This order is the context for this present shloka. Janaka and others like him, Janaka, Dayaha, Adi Padat, and others like Ashwapati, for instance, are mentioned in the Shruti. There were many people. So Janaka, Ashwapati, they were not sannyasis. Janaka, in fact, was a king ruling the kingdom. But Karma Yogi, Jnani, not It's not Jnani, not Karma Yogi, Jnani. Vasa Karma Yogi gained Jnanam, became a Jnani. So many people were there before, they were not sannyasis, they were not sannyasis, they were Jnanis, they were Grihastha Jnanis. And Janaka was a king, so ruling the kingdom. A Jnani was ruling the kingdom. So it is not an easy thing. Being a Jnani, responsible for the entire kingdom, the prajas, same time, he was a Jnani. They're all kings and householders. They had offices to keep and were busy with a variety of activities which were kartavyam karma, to be done karmas. They are doing karma where the karma bound the people, bound them. No, because of jnana. They were also considered to be wise men who had gained samsiddhi, moksha. Another word for moksha, liberation. They had discovered freedom by living a life of karma, a life of activity. This shloka also another possibility is that for this shloka to be misinterpreted. Karmana sansiddhim asita janakadayaha. By karma alone they gain moksha. That is one possible misinterpretation. Second possibility is there are jnana karma samuchayavadi, which Bhashyakara deals with elaborately in his Bhashyam. So jnanam along with karma, jnana karma samuchaya. So for moksha you need jnanam plus karma. Because karma is Janaka was a king. He was doing his karma at the same time jnanam. So therefore, is jnanam because of knowledge and because also of his actions, what we are doing by karma. So karma plus jnanam has given him moksha padam, moksha iti, jnana karma samuchaya, jnanam also, the jnanam along with karma, both are required for moksha iti, jnana karma samuchayavadi may argue. So for moksha, mere jnanam alone is not sufficient. Take, for example, the Janaka and others. They were doing karma. They are doing karma, therefore, karma is also required. Therefore, the combination of both jnanam and karma, that alone gives freedom, liberation. Iti jnana karma samuchayavadis, the synthesizers of jnanam and karma argue. We never accommodate even an iota of karma. If you accommodate, then they will destroy our siddhanta. So we never accommodate. Moksha is only by jnana, never by karma. Not even an iota of karma. A little of karma can give moksha. Moksha is entirely, completely possible only by jnanam. Because karma is, whatever may be the karma, even if it is a highly dharmika karma, punya karma, or karma in the form of puja, etc., it is karma. It is parichinnam, it is limited. Karma, it is because it is karma, karmatvat, therefore, it will give parichinna palam, limited results only, papa punyam. It cannot give aparichinna palam, moksha. Moksha is only by jnana. Darkness can go away only by light. What karma can do? Karma cannot do. Darkness can go. But karma is required for what? Antakarna shuddhi. The flashing of the light by striking the matchstick. The striking the matchstick is karma. That karma is required. That is compared to antakarna shuddhi. And in that antakarna shuddhi mind, the flash, the light comes, because of which the room is lighted up. Therefore, people may argue the room was dark only by the action of striking the matchstick produces lights up the room. No, it is a light which lights up the room, not the karma. It is a light which lights up the room. For the light to come, you have to strike the match. Therefore, for the light to happen, that is for gaining the adhikaritvam, you need for gaining the adhikaritvam, that sadhana chatushtaya sampatti or antakarna shuddhi the preparation of Antakarna Shuddhi, you need karma. In that mind only Jnanam can happen. Therefore, all these arguments have to be handled properly and answered properly, which Bhashyakara does beautifully in the Vashyam. So therefore, two possible misinterpretations are dismissed. Then the wise need not give up activity. After Jnanam, should the wise man, so the Jnani give up activity? Need not, because karma cannot improve the Jnanam of the person. Karma cannot add, karma cannot reduce the Jnanam of the Jnani. It cannot add up to the Jnanam of the Jnani. It cannot take away the Jnanam of the Jnani. In no way it will be touched. So therefore, that being so, the Jnani also will continue to do karma. Why? To set a model, to set an example for the people to emulate, for the people to follow. They set an example for the people to follow. Why Soka Sangraham, Loka Sangrahartam iti. Okay. The wise need not give up activity. Even though considered by the Shruti to be wise men and scholars also, Janaka and the others were not renunciates. They are not sannyasis. They were householders, grihasthaha. They acquired wisdom without giving up karma. Thus, it is very clear that performing karma is not against moksha, even though it cannot produce moksha. Very important. Only knowledge can be said to produce moksha. Moksha being an already accomplished fact. It is moksha is siddhasya siddhihi. It is vittasya vittihi. Therefore, jnanam is the means. In other words, Atma oneself, Atma, which is oneself, is liberated. It is muktaha. And knowledge alone makes us recognize this fact. So jnanam is recognition of the fact. So what karma is required? Recognition means it is knowledge. Knowledge alone. Lack of knowledge, that is ajnanam. Therefore, we need knowledge. What karma is required to produce this knowledge? So recognizing the fact, for that knowledge alone is a means. For moksha is already for moksha which is already siddha, what could be the means then? Knowledge alone. And the knowledge takes place only in the mind which is ready for it, which is prepared. Therefore, karma yoga. And to prepare the mind for this recognition, there are a lot of means that one can use. This then is a reason there is something equal to knowledge for gaining liberation. The use of the words produce and make here must be properly understood. Because knowledge is always true to a fact, it cannot make or produce anything unless there is a fact. Knowledge of the object pot will only be equal to what is there, a pot. If the pot is a clay pot, it's a clay pot, not a brass pot. By knowledge, you cannot change the nature of the pot. You cannot add to the pot, you cannot remove something away from the pot. But you can only understand its nature. This is the very meaning of knowledge. Moksha is always for oneself. It is not for anyone else. And because the self, the Atma, is already muktaha, moksha is always for oneself. It is not for anyone else. And because the self is already mukta, moksha can be gained only by knowledge of the fact that the self is already liberated. It is praptasya praptihi. If it is apraptasya praptihi, then karma. If something to be gained which is not gained, then karma is required. But here, it is gaining the gained, accomplishing the accomplished, achieving the achieved. And the achieved, accomplished is the achiever, the nature, the swarupa of the achiever. Therefore, it is jnana. Moksha is already accomplished in the self, and one can gain this knowledge without giving up karma, as Janaka and others like him did. Therefore, without giving up karma, he can do. That doesn't mean karma is required for jnanam. Without giving up karma, one can gain jnanam. So, doesn't mean karma plays a role in gaining jnana. That should be understood. That is what the jnana karma samuchayavadi, they take that karma very seriously and say karma also adds up to moksha. That is not correct. That we dismiss. Karma is only opposed to knowledge when performed purely for fulfilling one's raga dveshas, not for neutralizing them. Such karma is without any doubt binding in nature. That karma alone binds a person. That karma which is done to fulfill raga dvesha. That is why karmis are bound. This, however, is not the karma that Krishna was referring to here. He was talking about karma that is to be undertaken by oneself with an attitude of karma yoga. Therefore, this karma is a yoga whereby you gain the kind of mind necessary for the knowledge to take place. Beautiful. So we'll stop here. We'll continue the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Dhanyavadaha